Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to explore a very important water quality parameter, chemical oxygen demand in wastewater. This is the first slide, so I want to briefly introduce the topic. We'll look at what COD is, why it matters, and how it helps us assess water treatment and pollution levels. I'm excited to take you through this key aspect of water quality management. Let's get started. Let's start by understanding what chemical oxygen demand, or COD, actually is. Essentially, COD measures the amount of oxygen that is needed to chemically break down organic and inorganic matter in water samples. This process uses strong oxidizing agents to do the job. Now, why is this important? Well, COD acts as a key indicator of organic pollution in water. It helps us evaluate water quality and also assess how effective treatment processes are, whether in industrial settings or municipal water systems. Another important point is that COD is expressed in a universal way, milligrams of oxygen per liter, or mg/L. This standard measurement allows us to compare pollution levels across different water sources easily. So, in the bigger picture, understanding COD helps us monitor water health, identify pollution issues, and ensure that water treatment is functioning properly. It's a crucial tool in managing and safeguarding our water resources. Let's take a closer look at the science behind COD. Understanding this process is key to grasping how we measure water quality effectively. So, what is chemical oxidation? In simple terms, it's a process where we use strong oxidizing agents, like potassium dichromate, in an acidic environment to break down organic substances in water. This process actually mimics what naturally happens over time in the environment, but here, we do it in a controlled lab setting to get quick, reliable results. During the test, carbon is completely oxidized to carbon dioxide, which tells us how much organic material is present. Hydrogen is converted to water, and nitrogen usually turns into ammonia. What gets measured here is almost all organic matter, both the compounds that microorganisms can decompose and those they can't. This includes things like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, oils, and even synthetic chemicals and pharmaceuticals. By measuring all these, COD gives us a comprehensive picture of organic pollution in the water, helping us understand its impact and how to treat it effectively. Let's take a closer look at the key differences between COD and BOD. First, chemical oxygen demand, or COD, involves a chemical oxidation process. It typically takes about 2 to 3 hours to complete the test, making it a relatively quick method. COD measures the total organic matter in the sample, which means it includes both biodegradable and non-biodegradable compounds. Because of this, the values we get from COD are usually higher than those from BOD. Now, moving on to biological oxygen demand, or BOD. This test relies on biological oxidation by microorganisms and takes about 5 days to incubate. BOD specifically measures the biodegradable organic matter. That is, the stuff that microorganisms can actually break down. It does not account for toxic or resistant compounds that are not easily biodegradable, so its values tend to be lower than COD. An important concept here is the COD-BOD ratio. This ratio helps us understand how biodegradable the organic matter in a sample is. Generally, a ratio between 1.5 and 2.5 indicates good biodegradability, meaning the organic matter can be easily broken down. On the other hand, ratios above 5 suggest that the sample contains toxic or non-biodegradable substances, which could be problematic in wastewater treatment. Understanding these differences is crucial because it helps us assess the nature of the wastewater and determine the most effective treatment approach. Both tests complement each other and provide valuable insights into organic pollution and its potential impact on the environment. Let's talk about the standard COD testing methods. First, sample preparation is crucial. You need to collect representative samples and keep them at 4 degrees Celsius to preserve their integrity. If necessary, homogenize the samples to ensure uniformity, and dilute any high-strength samples so they fall within the measurable range of your instrument. Next, we move on to the closed reflux method. This involves adding specific chemicals, potassium dichromate, sulfuric acid, along with a silver sulfate catalyst, and mercury sulfate to mask any chlorides. The samples are then heated at 150 degrees Celsius for about 2 hours in sealed tubes. This step is vital for the digestion process. After digestion, we perform colorimetric analysis. Here, we measure the light absorbance at either 600 nanometers for high-range samples or 420 nanometers for lower ranges. The key visual indicator is the color change from orange to green, which reflects the level of organic matter oxidation in the sample. Finally, we calculate the results. Using calibration curves, we convert the absorbance readings into milligrams per liter of COD. Remember to correct for any blanks and report your results with the appropriate significant figures. This process ensures accuracy and reliability in your measurements, tying back into the overall goal of assessing water quality effectively. When we look at interpreting COD results, it's important to understand what the different ranges tell us about water quality. So, values less than 50 milligrams per liter generally indicate clean water, like drinking water or high-quality surface water. These show minimal organic contamination, which is what we want to see. Moving to the 50 to 200 range, this suggests moderate pollution. Water in this range often comes from urban runoff or secondary treated wastewater. It's usually acceptable for discharge if proper treatment measures are in place. When we encounter values between 200 and 1,000, we're dealing with high pollution levels. This typically points to industrial wastewater or primary treated municipal waste. These require additional treatment before they can be safely released into the environment. And finally, anything above 1,000 milligrams per liter indicates very high pollution. This includes raw industrial waste or untreated sewage, which demands comprehensive treatment systems to meet regulatory standards. These COD values are critical. They guide our treatment decisions and help us monitor compliance. Remember, specific limits can vary depending on local regulations and the characteristics of the receiving water body, so always consider those factors in your assessments. Now, let's take a look at the sources of chemical oxygen demand, or COD, in different types of wastewater. Starting with industrial wastewater, we see that industries like food processing, pulp and paper, chemical manufacturing, and pharmaceuticals tend to generate high levels of COD. This is mainly due to organic solvents, process chemicals, and byproducts involved in their operations. In some cases, these values can even exceed 10,000 milligrams per liter, which is quite significant. Moving on to municipal wastewater, the main contributors are human waste, food scraps, soaps, and household chemicals. These typically result in COD levels ranging from about 300 to 600 milligrams per liter before any treatment. It's important to understand that municipal waste streams are generally less concentrated than industrial ones, but they still pose a challenge for treatment processes. Finally, agricultural runoff includes animal waste, crop residues, fertilizers, and pesticides. These sources can cause seasonal spikes in COD levels, especially during harvest periods. Livestock operations and food processing facilities often show particularly high organic loads during these times, which can impact water quality downstream. Connecting this to our overall theme, understanding these sources helps us develop targeted strategies for wastewater treatment, ensuring we effectively reduce organic loads before discharging water back into the environment. Let's talk about regulatory standards and environmental impacts related to wastewater discharges. First, discharge limits vary depending on the region. For example, the EU Urban Wastewater Directive sets a limit of 125 milligrams per liter of COD, which measures the amount of organic matter in the water. In the United States, the EPA's limits depend on the receiving water body, so they can differ based on local conditions. The World Health Organization recommends a much stricter limit of less than 10 milligrams per liter for drinking water, emphasizing the importance of protecting human health. Industrial permits tend to be even more stringent, often requiring limits between 50 and 80 milligrams per liter. Monitoring is a critical part of managing these standards. Regular testing ensures that facilities stay compliant and helps protect aquatic ecosystems from oxygen depletion and toxic effects caused by excess organic matter. Now, let's consider the environmental consequences of high COD discharges. When there's too much organic matter in the water, it leads to oxygen depletion in receiving waters, which can cause fish kills and disrupt entire ecosystems. It also promotes eutrophication and algae blooms, which further degrade water quality. Groundwater contamination is another risk, especially when wastewater seeps into underground sources. High COD levels can create dead zones, areas where aquatic life can't survive, disrupting food chains and threatening biodiversity. So, managing these discharges isn't just about regulatory compliance. It's about safeguarding our water resources and the health of aquatic ecosystems as a whole. Let's now look at some effective strategies for reducing chemical oxygen demand, or COD, in wastewater treatment. First, in the primary treatment stage, we focus on physically removing suspended solids. This is achieved through processes like screening, sedimentation, and flotation. By doing this, we can reduce COD by about 25 to 40%, mainly by removing the organic matter that can settle out easily. Moving on to secondary biological treatment, this is where microorganisms really shine. Activated sludge and biofilm systems use these tiny organisms to consume biodegradable organic compounds. When these systems are well designed, they can remove between 80 and 95% of COD, which is a significant reduction. Finally, for the most resistant compounds that are harder to break down, we use advanced treatment methods. Techniques like membrane bioreactors, ozonation, and advanced oxidation processes target these stubborn pollutants. These methods can achieve over 95% removal, meeting the strictest discharge standards. Connecting all of this back to our overall goal, these strategies help us effectively reduce organic pollution, protect water quality, and ensure compliance with environmental regulations. Let's take a moment to review the key takeaways from today's presentation. First, why does chemical oxygen demand, or COD, matter so much for effective water quality management? Well, COD serves as a critical monitoring tool because it provides a rapid and reliable way to assess levels of organic pollution in water. This means we can make quick decisions about treatment processes and ensure we stay compliant with regulations. Next, COD is an excellent indicator of treatment efficiency. By regularly monitoring it, operators can evaluate how well their systems are performing, identify any problems that may arise, and fine-tune strategies to maximize pollutant removal. This ongoing assessment is vital for maintaining high standards of water treatment. Finally, understanding and controlling COD is essential for environmental protection. When we keep organic pollution in check, we prevent oxygen depletion in the receiving waters, which is crucial for protecting aquatic life and maintaining healthy ecosystems. This isn't just about compliance, it's about safeguarding our natural resources for future generations. Overall, effective COD management is fundamental for sustainable water resource protection and public health. It helps us deliver clean water, protect ecosystems, and ensure a healthier future for everyone.